Hello all. I'm just going to go through lecture one, where we actually explore how to install AutoCAD. Now, with AutoCAD, we need to go to autodesk.ca, and you're going to need to sign in or to register. So if you click here, right? So this is my my signing in credentials, but if you don't have one, you're going to go to create account. Okay, and then you're going to put your first name and your last name. You're going to put your email. The email can be your email at Gmail or Hotmail. Just make sure that you remember that. You're going to confirm the email, and you're going to confirm, and you're going to put the password here. And of course, you're going to check the I agree to the Autodesk terms. Okay, now once you create an account, so for example, I'm just going to put anything here. Okay, and I'm going to confirm the email again. This was existent. I'm just going to go to any other email. Probably also use this or something like that. Okay, and then we're going to confirm. I have a lot of accounts. Anyway, when we create an account, I just want to show you after creating that account, what will happen. So you just need to put your first name, your last name, your email, confirm, and the password. Now, after that, we're going to go, of course, you're going to click on create account. But after that, I'm going to go to Autodesk again. And this Autodesk CA, and we're going to go to the AutoCAD software. Now, when you sign in, okay, later on, when you create the account and sign in with your account, you're going to see that you have something here called the download free trial. Now, the products can actually be licensed. Any Autodesk product can be licensed for about 1 year if you prove that you are a student studying at a full-time or program, and which you have, which is probably that you can qualify for this. And if I click for download free trial here, okay, you're going to see that you have two options. You have the option of business. Okay, so you're going to select if business, but if it's an education, and this is what you need to click on, because if you're a student or a teacher, when you click here, you're going to see that Autodesk provides software for students and educator that is free for 1 year. And the way that this happens, that when you click to education and you go to educational community, okay, you need to log in. Make sure again that you log in with the credential that you just created, and you're gonna get started. Now you can also see here how this works if you want to watch this video. So you're gonna click on, if you have to get started here, and you're gonna definitely sign in with the credentials that you have, and they will ask you later on if you're going to be if you are a student, then you need to provide them with a university ID. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to the educational community here. And we're going to click here on how it works. And there's a small video.
The Autodesk Education Plan gives eligible students and educators single user
on how this is going to go.
Once submitted,
So
receive a verification email to verify your email address and activate your account. Next, you will need to complete your education profile. Start typing your school name and choose the correct option from the drop-down list. If you do not see your school listed, click the link to add school and complete the form. Note that it may take up to 7 days for your school to be validated and added to the list. At this point, it is very important.
Okay, so here how it works is going to lead you all the way to how you can download the software. So hopefully, if you had any problems with this, you need to contact the school back and tell them that you might need a verification of your status as a student at Yorkville. They're going to send you a letter or something, and then you can send it back to Autodesk. Okay, my advice is to make sure that you save the credentials that you sign in with, which is your password and email, because there's no way that you're going to be able to sign in AutoCAD, because in AutoCAD itself, as we're going to see, you're going to need to sign in using those credentials for the software to work. So hopefully you're going to be able to do that. So after you log in to your account in Autodesk, and they are able to verify your information as a student, they're going to give you access to download Autodesk, the latest version, which is Autodesk AutoCAD 2022. Now you can see here, this is my credentials, and that's why you always need to sometimes to also put this in while AutoCAD is loading on your desktop. So you might need to bring in, that's why I said, make sure that you always remember the email that you logged in with and the password for this. Those are the same credentials that you signed in with Autodesk. So make sure that you remember those. Now, the first interface of AutoCAD actually gives you access to open an existing document or project, or open a new template. Now, a template is a way of AutoCAD to organize or store information regarding the scale system that you used and most of the features that you worked on in one place. So if you click here on new, you're going to find that there's something called the AutoCAD ISO now, and browse templates and get more templates online. Now, I just want to browse all the templates that they have before we actually delve into any of those. So I'm just going to click on browse templates here. And as you can see, the browse template opens up loads of options for us. Now, I just want to say that AutoCAD, anything with AutoCAD without ISO is actually imperial. Imperial means feet and inches. Now, anything with AutoCAD ISO is metric. So metric means centimeters, meters, and millimeters. So the one that we're going to be using is the AutoCAD ISO here. So I'm just going to click on it and click on open. And immediately you're going to see that I have the interface of AutoCAD. That's the regular interface. If you click here, if you click down there on the up there on the drawing, okay, this means that this is a drawing that I'm working on. I can add more drawings if I want to. Okay, and this means that I can open two drawings or three or more or multiple ones at the same time while I am, just to work with multiple drawings. So drawing one here is the one we have some, like you can see, we're snapping or maybe you're not snapping it. It's in accordance with the grid mode here. So if I clicked on the grid mode here, this is actually all going to disappear, the grid mode. So the grid mode, later we're going to explain that we can snap to it if we want to, and we can control the spacing between the grid if we want to. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to explore the command line here. Now, if you see here, we have a command line. I'm just going to click on it and drag it. All right. Now, if we type a command here, the very first thing that I'm going to type here is units. Now, I just want to make sure that the AutoCAD ISO, as we said, or set from the template, is actually in metric. And to do this, I have a couple of ways to check if the template is in metric. I can go here to the A tab up there. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go to drawing utilities all the way down, and I'm going to click on units. All right, now you can see here in the drawing units that we have the decimal. Decimal is meaning that this is actually a metric system, and the precision is 0.001. 000, and the insertion scale is in millimeters. So I know that if I will be working with this template that we picked, we're going to be working with the metric system and with millimeters. Now, it is advisable though that if I will be working in millimeters, because that's the smallest unit that of the metric system, that I will change this to 0. Okay, so I wouldn't have those very small fractions that are not really that are going to be redundant. So it's just make sure that if I'm using millimeters, my precision is going to be set to 0, and I'm going to click on OK here. All right, now if I go here to click on line, all right, which are the drawing menu here. So I'm just going to click on line, and once I click, I'm going to click and drag. Now, when I click and drag, all right, you can see that the units that are uh, in display with me are actually in millimeters, because it's 1,451. This means this is actually in millimeter. So that's the first thing that we need to talk about when we or of how to make sure that the template that we used is using the metric system. I pressed escape on my keyboard, okay, just to get out of the line command. And also there is another way to reach unit if we want to, by clicking here and typing units and enter. And again, this drawing units box is going to pop up. So we learned 2 ways of making sure that our units is set to metric or to architectural, which are the inches and feet. Now here in Desmol, if I want to change this to architectural, I'm going to click here and I'm going to click on architectural. All right, and I'm going to change this to inches. So if I want to change the system, okay, of the template inside of the template that we selected, which is AutoCAD ISO, I did that already by changing the architectural and 0. I don't recommend that you change the template much. So I'm just going to click on cancel here. I'm just showing you the ways that you can change between the units in a drawing project. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is, the interface and how to navigate. Now, AutoCAD is simple yet complex in the way that the interface works, but simple in the way that things are mapped here, that this is a line, this is a polyline circle, and those are the drawing tools that we're going to be using. Those are modification tools, meaning that we can use them to modify after drawing. All right, these are the annotate, where you add text and dimension and create a table. So those are mainly the things that are articulating the drawing more. And here is the concept of layers. If you click on the drop down, you're going to see that there are layers, and you can the 0 layer is a default layer, and mainly we don't do not actually draw on the default layer. We're going to work on, I think, unit 4 when we are exploring layers. Here, this is a block, meaning that I can create any shape, okay, and those shapes are going to be lines or and I can group them together and name them, and that's why and that's called a block. We're going to, this is actually by this can control the line weight. You can see that the line weights here are according to the millimeter system, as we said, because we're using the AutoCAD ISO. And here is the type of lines, like dashed lines and so on. Okay, this is just an exploration, a quick exploration of the interface. However, we still have other things to explore. For example, the bar down there, all right, which we call that bar is the customization, the customization menu, and this bar here is important because you can actually make sure that some sets or some sets of points are aligned together or snapping together. So for example, if I clicked here on the object snap and right click with the mouse button, I can see that I have some um, snapping options that I have here. And I'm going to give you a small example of what this actually going to be doing for us. And I'm going to click also on something here called the ortho command. I'm just going to click on the line and make sure that the ortho mode is on. I'm going to click and then I'm going to drag. Once I clicked and dragged, you can see that this is constraining in the X direction. If I go up, this is constraining in the Y direction. Okay, so we know that ortho is actually making sure that we are moving perpendicularly on the X or the Y direction. So I'm just going to click again to end that. Once I end that, the rubber band is moving in 360 degrees. So I'm just going to go back again to the ortho command. I'm going to click here and I can go up and click, and then I'm going to click escape on my keyboard just to end that. When I do that, now if I want to start drawing another line from the midpoint here of this line, what should I do? Now the object snap is going to help me with that. If I click here, okay, if it's not already clicked, and if I right click here again with the mouse button and make sure that the midpoint is selected by that check mark, I'm going to go to line again, and then I'm going to hover over. And once I hover over a line, I'm going to see that yellow triangle. Now the yellow triangle means that this is exactly the midpoint here. I'm hovering, I'm not clicking, okay? And if I hovered here, I can see that I have a yellow square. So there is a yellow square here, and there is a yellow triangle here. The difference is the triangle is referring to the midpoint. The square is referring to the endpoint. So if I want to create a line from here, all I'm going to do, I'm going to click, and then I'm going to drag up, and then I'm going to click again and click on escape on my keyboard to end that. If I wanted to create a line from the endpoint, I'm going to click on line, and then I'm going to hover over here, and the endpoint is there. But notice that if I go here and right click, the endpoint has to be defined. It has to be activated from here. If I don't want to activate it, all I have to do is click here. All right. And now if I go, I can't find that. I only can find the yellow triangle, but the yellow square head is gone because I deactivated it from here. Okay, so those are just preliminary ideas about how the interface works and what are two of the most important important tools here on the status bar, which is the object snap and the ortho mode. Another thing that we want to talk about is the options tools. Now, if I right click with the mouse, okay, I'm just going to click on escape, right click on the mouse, and this is right click anywhere on your screen. So it doesn't have to coincide with any of the objects that you have. So I'm just going to right click and click on options. Okay, I'm going to do this again, right click on the screen with the right mouse button and scroll down till you find options here. So you're going to click on options. And you're going to see that I have the options display menu. I'm just going to click on display here, display tab, and we're going to see that we have some things that we can actually control. So for example, I can control the size of the crosshair, which is that cursor that I see on screen. So if I increase this all the way to maybe 50 and click on apply and click on OK, you're going to see how big that becomes. Okay, so some people actually prefer to work with it big. Some when it's small, it's totally up to you, that preference. So I'm just going to right click here and I'm going to go to options. And then I'm going to decrease the size. again to something about, I think it was 5. So I'm just going to go back to 5. Okay. So that's one of the things that we can do was open and save though that this tab here. Uh, this is something that is important. I can make sure that the automatic save, which is something that we really need to have, the automatic save is saved 10 minutes between saves, or I can make it shorter. I can make it 5. So I want to make sure that there is an automatic file that that is saved file or a backup file that I can use. So this can be 5 or this can be 10. It's according to you. It's advisable to keep it 5, anything between 5 to 10. And we're going to click on apply. And the save as button means that the AutoCAD, this is saved to AutoCAD version 2018. Now, some people are still using older version, and this is why you might find that AutoCAD 2020 is able to open any of those versions, but AutoCAD 2018 cannot open a 2022 version. So this saves to the latest AutoCAD 2022, or you can save as AutoCAD 2018, which is the valid file format that you can save a file at. Okay, and then you're going to click apply again. The last thing we want to do is to learn how to save a file. Once we save a file to a specific name and give it a specific designation, we're going to see that that drawing 1 is going to become the file name that we saved it at. So I'm going to go to home here. I'm going to go to the A tab, which is the A button, the big button. I'm going to click save as. All right. Now, I'm going to click on save as, and here I'm going to click on a drawing, which is a DWG file format. All saved file or all saved projects in AutoCAD are saved as DWG file format. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that I know where exactly I am going to be putting this. So this is the desktop, and I'm going to click here. For example, this is project 1. And I'm going to click on save. Now, you're going to notice that once I actually save this as project 1, you're going to see here, that's the name of you as a user. That's where you have saved the project, the folder that, or the location where you have saved the project, and the project name. That's going to be on top. And then you have the project, the name of the project also highlighted here as according to the name that you specified for the project.